Fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.
Hi, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. I'm Rosemary, an energy healer, a spiritual advisor, and teacher.
And I'm Dina Scungio, a student of spirituality.
I am your host for this thought-provoking series, and am dedicated to providing you with food for thought information and answers to all modalities of alternative healing, spiritual development, animal welfare, environmental concerns, and so much more in the form of guest speakers who are experts in their fields. This series is recorded and will be shown in your area on your local public service cable network. Please contact them for dates and times. If you have a group that you think will be interested in what we have to offer, we are available to come to your group and teach. We will give you our contact information at the end of the show. Please visit my website and click on My TV Show, where you will find a wealth of information about this show.
Our shows are also available for you to watch for free on YouTube. Just go to the YouTube and type in Healing Outside the Box to make your selection. We are constantly adding new shows all the time, so please keep checking back and you will see the new shows. They get uploaded pretty quickly. We also have a website called a Facebook page called Healing Outside the Box. You could please go to the Facebook page and like our page, and also visit the website for more information.
We're also on YouTube.
Yeah,
You said that.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Okay, tonight's show is our 209th show, and the title is A Smorgasbord of Spirituality. And our guest is, are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? The world-renowned Roland Comtois.
Hey.
Welcome, Roland.
Thank you.
Welcome. So good to
Thank
have
you so
here.
much. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, thanks for coming. Let me tell you a little bit about Roland. Roland Comtois is an acclaimed inspirational speaker, spiritual medium, and radio show host. He is the author of 2 books, And Then There Was Heaven, and the other one is 16 Minutes, and the co-author of 365 Days of Angel Prayers. Roland is currently under contact with Llewellyn Worldwide for his new book about the Purple Papers, coming out in 2019. Roland is an executive producer and star of his one-man stage production called Heaven the Experience. Roland is a professional healer and spiritual medium with over 30 years experience as a gerontology nurse, Reiki master, metaphysical teacher, and grief specialist. His expertise extends from the physical to the spiritual as he shares healing modalities and messages that can nurture and balance mind, body, and soul. His mission is to help people find comfort in life in spite of loss, show them how to move beyond grief with love and hope, and to pass on the message that heaven and eternal love are real and always close at hand. He is the founder of the After Loss Expo, which is now in its 11th year. His work is currently sought after by television production companies eager to showcase his signature Purple Papers. Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot, and that is great.
We'll condense that next time.
Okay, we've had Roland on the show. I think this is probably your 3rd visit here, and we always love having him back. It's always new, different, and exciting.
And thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule.
Thrilled to be here with you guys. Excited.
Thank you. All right, we're going to ask you, the first question is, what do you mean by the title of the show, A Smorgasbord of Spirituality?
I think there are so many extraordinary options out there for us to go on our journey, because I think spirituality is all about the self-exploration of who we are, where we belong, everything about who we are. And we can reach out there and tap into all these extraordinary experiences to expand our awareness, to raise our consciousness, to make a connection. More importantly, though, to live the lives that we are supposed to live. And I think there's a lot of opportunities to
Right.
grow into that space. And that's what I mean. It's just a collection of stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Do you think there's a difference between religion and spirituality?
So here are my thoughts. I really do believe that religion attempts to create a foundation for a person to express their faith in some way. And spirituality is all about going into the inner aspects of who we are, to go into the depth of who we are. It's almost like going inward to experience the outer life. It's to go within yourself to really make a deep and profound connection to that universal energy. So I think religion creates a foundation. It has its doctrines and dogma and rules and regulations and things that you have to follow. And every religion has them. I mean, they just do.
Yeah, they do.
But within the spiritual aspect of this journey, it's really about learning who we are, what our role is in this extraordinary place called life, in this extraordinary place called Earth, and what is our contribution to the world that we serve. And I think spirituality teaches us or allows us to delve into that experience. It gives us a chance to grow, to learn, to expand, to explore, to become who we're supposed to be. I remember as a little kid, 8 or 9 years old, I would sit there at the edge of my bed wondering what was beyond the door, what was beyond the window, what was beyond my house, what was beyond my street, what was beyond my neighborhood, what was beyond the city that I lived in, and what was beyond all of that. And believe it or not, spirituality is like that to me. It's like living in that one little room, and then you grow to the street, and you grow even further, and you reach even further, and you connect to even more people. And I think that's the beauty of the experience, really.
Religion, to me, like you said, it's the doctrines and all the rules and regulations that you have to follow. It kind of keeps you kind of closed in, okay? You can be religious and you can also be spiritual.
Sure.
But the spirituality brings you can, like religions always say to you, this is the only way, this is the only way.
Yes.
But it isn't the only way.
Is correct.
There's so many ways, and like you said, you yourself can go and reach out to everything. People shouldn't be afraid to do
There's
that.
so many ways. I could have taken 95 to come here today, or 691, or Route 2, or whatever route it was
Right.
that I was on, Route 5. So there are many ways to get to that place, to that expression of who we are. I do want to say something about religion, though. There's something very remarkable that happens. So if you're in a Buddhist temple and everyone is chanting at the same time, something extraordinary happens. If you're in a church and everyone is saying the rosary at the same time, something extraordinary happens. If you're in a Native American setting and you're singing the songs of your people, together something happens. What these do is they create a unity. And let me just say to you that unity is necessary.
Right.
It's necessary. But what happens is they contain that unity, and it doesn't go beyond their own walls. And so you don't have a chance to bridge out and connect and reach other people.
Absolutely right.
And that's what happens there. And I was born Catholic. I sang in the Catholic Church. I started choirs. I did all kinds of things, and I'm not begrudging any religion at this moment.
Right.
What I'm saying is that it keeps you contained within its rules and regulations. And what I'm saying to you is that if you step out of it, meaning out of that space, out of that confinement, and see the unity, life will change.
That's right.
It will change.
You're absolutely right. There's unity everywhere.
There is. And if we don't see it, then we're going to be in trouble, basically. Humanity has to come back to a place of unity, and that's what this is all about. You have a choice. You can be in that box, or you can step out. You can step out and see and be part of something extraordinary. I remember sitting with a group of monks as they were chanting. And when I was sitting there, and I'm not Buddhist, but I loved sitting there. And the minute I heard, I'm getting emotional telling you the story. The minute I heard them chanting, I became one of them. I was sitting in a room with Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese monk. There were 2,000 people in the room. The minute he began to talk, I became united with the other 2,000 people there. When that Tibetan monk came out and started to sing his songs, something happened. We became one. I remember sitting in church and sitting there and saying a prayer when one of my friends passed away. And the minute we started to recite the prayer at the same time, something happened. We became one. That is what's needed. And that was so profound to me. So without the foundation of that religious experience, my spirituality would not have gone anywhere. It was the beginning of the story for a lot of people.
You're right. And that's probably needed for most of the people in the world, that structure.
Yes.
But then they shouldn't be afraid, like you said, to go further than that.
Yeah.
To get out of the structure and go searching for
To
more.
look.
Right.
Because there's no religion that practices hatred,
No.
not that I know of. There could be. What do I know? There's no religion that says, don't love your fellow man.
Right.
It really is about seeing the light in each other. That's what it should all be about. And I think that somehow we forget that, not we, but the experience, the religious experience sometimes pushes that unity away, or pushes that inability to see who that person really is, right? And, I could tell a lot of stories about that, because people have said a lot of things. Someone said to me once, "Well, I'm a reborn Christian. I can't
born
talk.
again, yeah.
I can't talk to people like you." And I said, "If you didn't know who I was or what I did, and you looked into my eyes and you saw the light within me, would you then judge who I am?" I look at you, what I see when I look at you is a beautiful woman with beautiful hair, by the way. And what I'm looking at is your light. I don't know your religious background, I don't know your spiritual background, but I'm looking at you, and I'm seeing you in your eyes and in your soul, and I'm having this kind of inner conversation. That is religion. That is spirituality on some level, right?
You're absolutely
Let's
right.
look at each other and see who we are, right?
We are, in which God created us and wants us to be, all one.
Yes.
That's what people fail to realize. We are all one.
In my near-death experience, I had it 30 years ago. I died, collapsed, was gone. There was no moment in my near-death experience where there was a line for the Catholics, a line for the Jewish people, the Buddhists went in that direction. Everybody was in the same line. There weren't neon signs that says
That's
take a
awesome.
left, take a, none of that happened.
No.
That's fantastic.
None
I love
of that
it.
happened.
Great analogy. Great.
It didn't happen that way, because there's something that we have to achieve, and that is this sense of unity and judgment-free
Right.
and stuff
Oneness
like
with
that.
each other.
Oneness with each other.
That's what we really are. People would start to realize that the world would be a better place. It would
Now,
really
I
start
want to
changing.
give people a shout out, because I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to hear it. So when I'm out live on Facebook or I'm doing an event, I start to see people reaching for someone. That's the beginning of unity. I start to see people looking at each other at an event that I do, or at a speaking engagement, or even on Facebook Live, right?
Right.
People start talking to each other.
Yes.
They say, "Hey, Mary, I'll send a prayer for you. I'll say a prayer for you." Something happens when we stand there in that space of this kind of united energy. And
You're
that's
right.
what this is all about. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
Absolutely.
That's what we were just talking about at dinner time.
Yeah. Do you think people are satisfied with the theological hair splitting over the so-called mysteries of God?
I don't know why I'm laughing, but no. You know what? I think it comes back to really understand. This may sound a little religious, and I don't mean it to be religious. But for me, I think that we have to have our own personal understanding of who or what God is for us, for ourselves. And then once we find that space, that understanding within ourselves, then all these other hair-splitting things seem to disappear, because I don't think all of that matters. I think what matters is that we are a reflection of the divine light. We're a reflection of that unconditional love. And if we do that, then that wouldn't exist. That hair-splitting, arguing, fighting back and forth. It's been going on for centuries.
Oh, yeah.
And centuries. And centuries. And centuries.
Yeah.
It's been going on.
The power struggles.
Excuse me. But this is all about, who is God? What is God? Where is God? Why is God? And I've been asking myself these questions from day one. Right? Asking myself. And I look around in the world that I live in, and I see God. I saw God in the eyes of my dog.
Yes.
I see spirit and love and energy and angel and connectedness in the eyes of my daughter. I see it when someone reaches for a friend and says, I've got you. No matter what, I'm going to hold on to you. I see God or spirit or love or energy in that moment.
You're right, yeah.
If we go back there, the hair splitting wouldn't take place. It wouldn't happen. The truth is, we're in charge. And we got to be accountable for the humanness, for the humanity that we're responsible for. My teacher used to say to me, it's time for humanity to switch from intelligence to heart. Let's go back to where we truly belong. And that's here, not here.
Right.
Because here, judgment, despair, all those other words exist.
Yeah,
but
worldly
in
things.
Ego. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. But in here, it is all about heart and love. And if we go there, man, the world would change. Do you know when we go into the heart? Do you know when? Do you know when we go into the heart?
When things happen.
Exactly, right? When you see on the news that there's a shooting in Florida, in Texas, everywhere, in Maryland, people went into the heart on September 12, 2001. The day after 9/11, they went into the heart because they remembered their humanity for 5 minutes. They remembered who they were.
For a few weeks after that happened, everyone was so nice to everyone.
That's
It
right.
only lasted a couple
So
of weeks.
nice, and then it went slowly. It just went back to the same old.
Because
for a while,
I think what we need in the world is someone or something to remind us that it's okay to be here. It's okay. Look, it's okay out there.
Right.
It's okay to be right here, because that strengthens your awareness, your consciousness, your humanity, and everything that you are. And that's not religion.
No.
That's being human.
That's right.
Am I yelling? All of a sudden I'm so
spiritual.
charged
No,
up.
no.
I'm so charged up
No,
by the
it's the passion that
conversation.
you
It's
have,
passion.
you know?
Yeah, it is passion. But because I see it, though. I see it.
That's
I see
right.
it in the people that I meet, and I know that the possibility exists and the potential exists. Now, I'm not downplaying what people do. People do amazing things.
Yeah.
But we got to push it a little further.
You're
and
right.
then push it a little further. Back to my living as an 8-year-old boy in my little bedroom. I wanted to know what was beyond in the next street, in the next neighborhood, in the next town. We got to continue to push it out in that direction, because we grow when that happens. We become stronger when that happens.
When I'm watching TV shows, and some of them can have some beautiful parts in them, this is what I look for. When people get it, when they get it, when they understand it, brings tears to my eyes. My heart swells. And I also love it when, if you ever seen, I don't know, take a show about firemen, and somebody is falling into a hole, and they're holding him, and they say, let me go, because you're good. And they say to him, if you go, we all go. Talk about oneness.
Yeah.
Okay? That's just my heart,
It's miraculous, actually.
It is.
And, can I just share one story?
Share a lot of them.
About an event that I did, and there was a young woman in the room whose father passed away, and she was beyond emotion. In a place that I've never seen before in another person. Beyond emotion. She was a young woman in her 20s, just distraught on every level. And I began to tell her what I was seeing, what I was feeling. And the sound that came out of this young woman was a sound that I never heard in another person ever in all of the years that I've done what I'm doing. At that moment, a woman walked from the other side of the room very quietly, gently, walked over, stood behind that woman, and held her like this. At that second, humanity changed. It changed. That young kid didn't feel alone, didn't feel separate, wasn't afraid, was somehow allowed to really express her true emotion of pain. And all this woman did was hold her as she sobbed. It was extraordinary. It was by far the most profound moment of watching humanity grow. Every time there's a shooting in our country and everybody comes together and they say a prayer or they come united, we grow. Well, somewhere along the line we forget that growth or how or trust. Maybe that's where faith comes in, because faith is about trust and confidence and something you can't see. But it starts to grow and it begins to change. That's the power that exists in you and everybody who's listening, and in me and everybody that's listening.
That's right.
Everybody.
We think that we have special people in our life. They're the only ones that can help us. But a stranger can come up to you and do something like that. Or a stranger can save you if you have an accident or something happens. You hear about it all the time. So-called strangers, but they're not so-called strangers.
No, that lady in Dunkin' Donuts that smiled at me, who was generous with her humanity, helped me in that moment. Don't you get it? I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about some voodoo scary something. We're talking about retreating back to the heart, to the center of our humanity. It isn't about religion, it's about nothing but being in that space, because that space has power, and has the right kind of power too, to change the forecast of where humanity is and where it will go.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry about the cough.
That's all right.
I feel like that when we say it's humanity or humankind, I feel like it's something we brought with us from where we came from, the spirituality, the oneness that we sometimes experience. I feel like we had that there before we came here.
It's
and
familiar.
Every once in a while it comes out and we
Yes.
share it with each other. And that's the one thing that I miss the most, being here on this planet. I love this planet, but I miss that because I don't see it that often.
You know, so there's something very familiar about that moment when humanity expands. There's something so familiar about it. It feels like you're home, right? Like that young girl who's embraced, all of a sudden feels like she's home.
That's it, home.
She feels like she's there. And when the lady smiled at me at Dunkin' Donuts, you know, and we're exchanging something, there's a sense of being home, being safe, being loved.
That's how I feel.
Being supported in some way.
That's what I think we all miss, and we don't even realize that we miss it. That's what we're all looking for here.
Yeah, it
looking
is.
for it in certain people. We think we can only get it from certain people, but it's not true.
It's not true.
No.
It's not true. We all have the possibility and the potential within us to really step back here. As Tulia Forlani Kitty said, we have to switch from our intelligence to our heart, right? From our thinking to our knowing, really, to really step into that space. Well, let's talk about love for a minute, because Khalil Gibran says love only wants to love. It wants to do nothing else. It's got no other purpose but to love, right? When we stand in that space, and we are truly in that space of love, then that love becomes this ripple effect of this extraordinary energy, and it goes out there, and it touches and connects and reconnects, and it helps you to remember. You know, what you're asking for is you're asking to remember that feeling of home. Because when you feel it, you expand, you grow, you become more than what maybe you were a moment before. You know, that's the power of it. It's the power of who we are. And it starts with a foundation. It's like planting a seed in the ground. The seed needs the dirt. Well, it's not going to get anywhere. It needs a little water. It's not going to get anywhere. Maybe it needs a little plant food to give it a little boost. Maybe it needs me, because this is what, and I don't know if I should say this publicly, but maybe it's me who goes around and loves all my plants in my yard. I go over. This is what I did this morning. I said, "Hey, you're looking great today."
That's what
I do that too.
Yeah.
That's what I do too with my
Right?
plants. Yeah.
So-
Aren't you sweet
I
little
love that.
sweetheart?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, so it sounds a little nutty, I get. It
No,
sounds a little
plants have
crazy.
feelings
but
and-
they have
oh,
feelings.
yeah.
It's the same thing with us. We're the seed. We're growing through the dirt. We're waiting to reach the sun. We're waiting for the nourishment, the love, and the support. We're the same.
You're right.
We're the same.
You're absolutely
And then when we touch our humanity, the lotus opens. And it's a beautiful, fragrant something. We're the same. We're the same.
We are.
We are the same. Excuse me.
We're all missing that home, Dina. That we don't realize it, but that's what we're really missing. That's what we're searching for everywhere and everyone.
I think the real question is, why are we missing it? Are we not looking? Are we not paying attention? Are we not invested or proactively involved in our lives? Are we too busy? Are we on Facebook too much? Are we tweeting too much? Are we texting too much? Are we not invested in that moment? A couple of weeks ago, I spoke at an event, and I made everybody take their phones out, and because the only way this could happen, and call someone and tell them what they really think about them by using loving, kind words.
Oh, that's nice.
Within 5 minutes, 100 people picked up their phones, and they were saying, "Ma, I love you. Dad, I love you." Humanity changed once again. I think we're much more powerful than we think we are.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
God created us in His image.
Yes.
Like Him,
Yes.
but we forgot about that.
Yes.
I also feel that people have a hard time with very strong emotion,
Yes.
and that they can't. A lot of people don't know how to handle it, and
They
that's
don't.
why they don't have it that
Yeah,
often.
you're right.
It's true. They don't know how to explore that experience because it hasn't been familiar to them in their lives.
And it's overwhelming
And
at
it's
times.
overwhelming. And
They
not
feel vulnerable.
I was just going to say that, right? They reach a place of vulnerability that is not comfortable.
Yeah.
But in that place of vulnerability, you achieve the greatest things.
That's
I don't
right.
think they realize that though sometimes.
No, they
so-
don't.
And I don't know how to help them.
They might get it in bits and pieces, and at some point they might understand it, and they may grow a little bit. I remember once walking into a patient's room, and there was this wonderful patient of mine that had been my patient for a long time. And I walked in, and she was nearing death, but she was still talking and still vibrant, and I loved her so much. I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she said, "Hey," and she's given me, she's given me this look. She says, "Hey," she says, "Before I go," she says, "I want you to tell me what God looks like, so I know who to look for," she said. And I said, "Well, He's a reflection of your goodness, your kindness, your caring, your compassion, your willingness, your oneness, your strength, your courage. That's what it is. That's what He, she, it is." And she had one little tear.
Aww.
She took my hand and she says, "I'm going to love you forever," she said.
Aw.
And I think about her all the time, and that was years
That's
ago.
nice. That's really nice.
It's a sweet story. Excuse me.
I think with all of that, to go just into this next question, with so much happening in the world around us, how do we stay centered and focused?
So we were
in
just
our
talking
lives?
about that a minute ago,
Yeah.
right? People are texting, tweeting, Facebooking, Instagram, driving hours in a car, whatever the story is. Life is so busy that
Yes.
we forgot to pay attention or to be proactive or to be aware of our lives, right? And to get centered is to, really see your life, to be your life, to live your life, to take it all the way, right? It's not to walk into the house if you're a married person. Oh, so say, for example, walking into the house and your beloved dog is there, right? You got to run into the arms of that dog, and you got to stay there in that moment, and that will center your energy, or your husband, or my family, right? Those are important things.
Yes.
Because we we live busy lives. Things are moving fast. Time is moving fast. And we don't have time to miss it. We got to pay attention right now and stay with it so that we are centered and focused, right, on our life experiences. You know, one of the things that I do, and if I'm talking too much, tell me to stop. One of the things that I do...
That's why you're here.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I am here for that. Yeah, hello. One of the things that I do is that I take a mental inventory every day.
Me too, yeah.
Every day.
At the end of the day.
You know, where am I now? What am I doing? How am I feeling? Do I have any aches and pains? And at night, this is what I'm revealing this for the first time. I've never told another soul this, except...
Shh, won't tell anyone.
Tell
Don't
anybody.
tell anyone.
Except my very close friends. At night, I say, hey, God, I got to check in with you. And hey, body, I got to check in with you. Hey, spirit. Like every night, I have a conversation out loud with all the energies, just to kind of check in, take an inventory, say thank you, express my gratitude, be in a state of oneness with the universe, because the universe is working on our behalf,
right?
On humans' behalf. And so I do that at night. I have these little talks, these little conversations. I take inventory in the morning, you know. So all these things help you to stay centered, right, and to stay focused. Can I say something else about that?
Say anything you want.
Many people are empathic.
Yes.
So they're highly sensitive to energy. So you feel the distress of others.
Yes.
So how do you not take that home? How do you not clear that energy so that it doesn't become a distraction for your centering? Right? So you've got to do a little meditation. You got to do a little clearing. You got to move the energy. You got to push that energy away from you so that it doesn't get attached to you or connected to you.
Right.
So there are things to do. Sometimes I wash with sea salt. I push away the energy. Sometimes I pray. Sometimes I listen to beautiful music. And sometimes I get into that quiet space within myself and allow that energy to move from me. Because there are a lot of people who are very sensitive to energy, you know, and you have to come up with a plan.
I was going to ask you about that.
Huh?
I was going to ask you because I have this thing where when I go to a hotel or even when we go to a campground and I'm in a space where someone else has been, I get their energy. I get dreams of them.
Predecessor chi.
I can't. Yeah. I've never seen these people before. Yes. I have no idea. But that only when that happens to me, and I don't know how to sometimes
that's
get
called
rid of
predecessor chi. You walk into a space and you feel the vibration. It's almost like you could feel the steps that someone had walked previously and their emotional experience, right? So the minute you're there, you connect to that vibration, that energy, and you know, and you have to be, because you're that sensitive, you have to come up with a protocol or a plan to help release that energy so that you don't carry that with you.
Yeah, I think I do sometimes carry it because I try to figure what the heck was going on that I would have these dreams about their lives. So I can't release it that well. I don't know. I haven't meditated before.
No, I think what you can. I think you're doing a good job, though. Really, I do. And I think what you should do is acknowledge that exists for you without stressing over it. Okay, you feel some energy. All right, good. Right?
But some of it's not
it's
good
scary,
energy. It's
overwhelming, dark, nerve-wracking. I got it.
Even their thoughts.
I live your life. I know exactly, what you're talking about. But you still need to come up with a plan so that you don't feel overwhelmed by that energy. And there are a lot of people out there that feel overwhelmed by things like that. So you're not alone. That's for sure.
There are places you go to sometimes, you have to leave.
Yeah.
I've had that where I couldn't breathe. I had to get out of here. Yeah.
It took me years to be able to go into New York City because of the energy. So intense.
That is very intense.
Yeah.
New York.
So I had to figure out how to negotiate that within myself. Same thing that you have to do when you're in those places. You have to figure out how to manage that energy so that it doesn't become, so it doesn't overwhelm you, and that you don't lose your humanity, your place right here. That's what you have to do.
And if you think about them too much, you're taking it on yourself, and you don't want to do that. Whatever their life, whatever would happen, you want to just leave it there.
Well, most of it's most of it's irrelevant stuff. But sometimes I've gone through things where there's like great emotional uplifting, but then I've gone to. I've had a couple of times where I've had these terrible dreams of murder and this and that and the other, and I'm wondering what was going on with this person that I would have this.
Do you realize that you have a responsibility at that moment? that this isn't happening by chance. It's happening because you have a purpose in that moment to extinguish, through your energetic connections, the suffering. Through your kindness, your love, putting love back into that space, putting energy back into that space, imagining that you're planting a seed and the seed will bring love. You know, listen, our thoughts are powerful.
Oh, yes, they are.
You know, we're not talking just a little bit of power. Our thoughts have power.
Very much.
You know, and we can really do a lot with that. So it sounds a little weird, but really owning that moment and loving that moment and putting love back into that space, you know, that will change the energy a little bit. Try it, right? See what happens.
Yeah, I've never thought of that.
You know what else happens is we go into the fear. If there was a chair, a big chair in front of you, and it said love and fear, where would you go automatically?
Love.
Right. So in that moment when fear comes in, you've got to find that place where love exists and use that energy as a tool to guide you through that moment. Those are my thoughts.
Good thoughts. I know Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about living in the moment, staying focused. So, with so much happening in the world around us, how do we stay centered and focused in our lives?
You know, it does require a lot of work. It does require a lot of work. Let's face it. It's not easy. It's just not easy. The minute we leave here, we're all going to get in our cars, and there's going to be a guy bonking his horn because, you know, we're going too slow or too fast, and there's going to be lights everywhere and flickering everything, and how do you stay in that space? That's an experience within itself, and it requires some of the things I mentioned before, and really just doing everything you can to be here, to feel the chair you're sitting in. Sometimes when I take the cup, I know that the cup is in my hand. I'm so conscious of it, I feel it, right? In my classes, I used to give people a Hershey's Kiss, and I'd have them put it on their tongue and leave it there until it melted completely. You had no choice but to be in the present moment as that Hershey Kiss was dissolving off your tongue. In some classes, I gave people a very juicy orange, and I said, bite into the orange. And they'd bite into that orange, and all the deliciousness of the orange would fall down your face, and you could smell the aroma of the orange, and nothing else seemed to exist but you and the orange. There's a great book by Thich Nhat Hanh called Pebbles in the Sand. It's a must-read if you want to learn the experience of mindfulness and present moment experiences.
Yeah, write that down.
Thich Nhat Hanh, he's a great author about those topics. But really, it just requires work.
Living in the moment, just staying centered in the moment, absolutely true.
Yeah.
I have a question for you that's not in our list.
That's
also,
beautiful. I love questions off the list.
Well, you know, in your biography here, it talks about how you help people to move beyond grief with love and hope. How do you move someone who's in such grief that they don't care if they live or die anymore, that they don't feel that there's nothing to go on for, that they don't see this life as being wonderful and a gift and everything? How do you get through to...
My responsibility in that moment, and I say this at all my events, is to stand by that person's side, right there, in that moment, very present with them. It isn't my job to push them. It's my job to stand there, hold their hand. And often at my events, right, I'm talking to somebody who's in great pain, like you just mentioned, and they're not breathing. And I have to say to them, breathe. It's okay to breathe. So I think what I do for myself is that when someone is in that place, all you can do is be there for them, to listen to them, to hold their hand, to be in that present moment with them, to let them express what they're really feeling, you know, and not put our own preconceived thoughts on how they should be feeling, but to stand by their side and just be there with them. A woman came to me once and she said, I've been missing my husband for 25 years. He died 25 years ago and I'm still mad at him. I said, okay. I didn't say you shouldn't be mad at him. I said, okay. What can I do to help you? And she said, no, nothing, she said. I just want to know whatever she wanted to know. I held her hand. I embraced her. That's what my responsibility is. And the truth is, that's what your responsibility is too.
Do you think some of your energy flows into that
I do.
person? When yeah.
You're not just this physical being that's sitting in front of me. You have, if you believe in the Eastern philosophy, you have an aura, you have energy centers. In nursing school, no one ever said to me, hey, you got some energy center. You know, in nursing school,
Right.
no one ever said, hey, let's check your aura today. You know,
Right.
Never. But we are energy beings. Rub your hands together really fast. You're going to feel the trickling of energy moving so quickly. And this, if you put your hands a little bit further apart and further, you're going to begin to see this kind of vibrational something moving. So you're more than just the physical being. So the minute you do that, your kindness, your loving kindness, your compassion, it seeps out. It creates a ripple effect. And whoever is in that space is going to be the recipient of it. Excuse me.
That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Okay. People are saying, if there is a God, why does he allow such chaos in the world?
Do you know that I get this question every single
I'm
day?
sure
Really?
you do.
Every day. And my answer is always the same. God didn't create the chaos. I don't think so.
No.
I'm sorry.
I don't
neither.
either.
I don't mean to disappoint you.
No, me neither.
I didn't get any news bulletin that said, I did it. I did it to punish you. I don't think that's it.
No.
I think that our ego and a lot of things have caused this disruption, and that we have to learn from that disruption. We got to learn. We got to learn. When, the real question should be, when is humanity going to get with the program? Really? Right? When are we going to be united? When are we going to stand true to each other? When are we going to look at each other in the eye and you know, and help each other? When is that going to happen? Because that changes everything. You know what? God made you. If you believe in that concept. And if God made you, then maybe you are the one that changes everything, right? You know that story of the little kid on the ocean, and he sees all the starfish all stuck on the ocean, and they're stuck, the water's not coming, and he's running around, and he's throwing the starfish in the sea, and he's throwing them in the sea, and an old man walks by, and he says, what are you doing that for? You're never going to save all these starfish. You're wasting your time and energy. The little kid reaches down in the dirt, takes a starfish, lifts it up to the old man and says, and throws it in and says, it matters to this one. Right? You matter. You are a reflection of that divine light. You are. You are. Whoever's watching this
You
is.
are.
I am. We all are. And we are the ones responsible for changing the chaotic energy. Someone will still email me tomorrow and say, why is God letting this happen? Or why did God take my 6-year-old
Yes.
daughter?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Why did God take my kid? Why did God take my dog? That's what somebody said to me recently. You know, and the reality of this is in relationship to your question, and that is you and you and you are a reflection of that divine, universal, loving, unconditional energy. And it's our responsibility to create this ripple effect of energy that changes the world in which we live. And we do it. I said the girl, if I knew the girl at Dunkin' Donut, her name, I would give her some credit right now. Because she changed the forecast for humanity with me. She smiled. I felt better. It changed. I changed. I mean, it's that simple, Rosemary. It's that simple. We make it so complicated.
Well,
right?
I have to say that I know that religions control people
Yes.
with fear and punishment, okay? The concept of hell and things like that.
Sure.
All right. Then they talk about God is loving.
Yep.
So people have to figure out for themselves.
Yes.
Okay? Is God love or does he punish? Does he take care of you or does he cast you down to a place where you're going to burn forever?
Yeah.
How can a loving God How can you as you're a parent to your dog, your daughter.
Yep.
We're parents, whatever. How can we ever do that to our children or our animals? How can we? We can't.
We can't.
How could God do that?
But they keep blaming him for everything.
That's when people, like you say, have
Because they
to
don't
wake
wanna
up
look
and
at
think
it.
for themselves and saying, this does not compute. It doesn't work. It's not right. There's something wrong here.
And what we really have to do is reach back in and take our power back.
Right.
And then once we have our power, we have to take responsibility. Once we're responsible, then we become the steward of that energy. So we take it back, we take responsibility, and then we push it back out there in the world in the most kind, most gentle way. I know what people are going to say. They're going to say that this is a little too airy-fairy, lovey-dovey, right? But the fact of the matter is, it's not easy out there. I don't care what anybody says. It's not easy. And it's not easy to take your power back. There's a lot of other voices in your head talking you out of it, right?
Yes.
So it's not an easy experience. But I can tell you that when you do take that power back, something will change. In 2001, just before 9/11, I sent a letter to the Pope of the Catholic Church. I said to the Pope, hey, in my letter, I said, I had a dream about you last night. And I really sent this. I said, I had a dream about you last night. I had a dream about God, I told him in my letter. And I was sure to believe that they were going to push me out of the Catholic Church forever, right? Or push me out and send me out there and do whatever, right? I sent him a letter telling him about my vision, my dream, and how if we were all united, something beautiful would happen. 3 weeks to the day that I sent the letter to the Pope of the Catholic Church with billions of parishioners, I got a letter back. You know what it said? Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you. It said thank you. What does that tell you? It tells you that the message of humanity, of unity, matters. It matters. Imagine he said, thank you. I felt such, there was something about that moment for me that was very validating, that it was 3 weeks later, in a world where there's no email, 3 weeks and all the letters. I was told by his people, that he gets millions of things a year. 3 weeks later, there was a response, and it was a positive one. A very positive one. I'm telling you, it reflects the experience of unity. That's what I know. That's
Right.
how I see it. That's how I see it.
No matter who we like and who we don't like, we're still all one with each other.
We are one. We are one. We are one. We have to be kind and we have to be generous. We have to be loving. We have to be centered. We have to be focused. There's a lot of things we've got to be.
So if people believe in a loving God, or if it doesn't make sense to them, then they have to find something that makes sense to them.
Yes.
They have to go out there and search and find the God of love and find what makes sense to them. That's what I did when I started my quest. You have to go out and find it and see what works for you.
And some people find it in the very orchestrated religion.
Yes,
some people
they do.
find it and they love it.
Right.
And some people go outside of that experience. We have to find that feeling that you mentioned earlier about being home, that sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need. A woman called me last week and she said, you know, you're not going to believe this. I found my church, she said. I said, good. Do you feel like you belong there? Yes. Do you feel like it's home? Yes. Do you feel loved? Yes. Then you are exactly where you belong.
You have to do what's good for you.
You do.
What resonates in you. That's what's most important.
Yes.
That's right.
You have to be, and you have to be a reflection of that greater vibration of energy. The goodness, the love, right? You have to be like that lady at my event who put her arms around that young woman and held her. You have to be that person to make a difference.
All right. We're not going to have enough time to finish these questions, and I feel bad because I really, there's so much here. If God were to stop all the horrors, like people say, why does he let this happen? Then tomorrow it would just start all over again, Because as long as a human being does not learn to respect his fellow man, as well as the animal and the nature kingdoms, he'll still remain hostile and cruel towards life.
That's it.
So for God to say, stop that, it'll just start again because no one has learned anything. What do
Right.
you feel?
We got to learn the lesson. We've got to learn the lessons, and we've got to learn them now. We've got to learn them now. We have to remember our humanity. We have to remember that we are part of the global, universal experience, that we are a thread in this magnificent tapestry called human life. And we have to be part of it. We have to be part of it. And until we learn the lessons, we're not going to get out of it. We have to learn them individually. We have to learn them collectively. And until that happens, we're not moving forward. We're going to continue to be in the same space that we've been in. Granted, there's improvements. I see it every day. It grows a little bit more. I see it. I see it. I see it in men. I see it in women. I see it even in the younger people coming to my events. It's happening. So things are moving and shaking, but we've got to learn, we've got to grow, and we've got to expand our awareness. We have to look in the eyes of a person and see who they are without judging them before we understand that they are this religion or that religion. Look at that person. See who they are. Feel out the energy and let it be what it is.
So
my
if God
thought.
were to take it away from us, we would learn nothing. We have to experience it. We wouldn't do it with our children.
That's why we're in this physical life experience, right? It's really to do it and to grow. You know, you made a good point. You wouldn't if your kid slapped someone in the face at school, you would address that and you would resolve that. That's the same thing. We've got to resolve these things and move forward.
And then you want God to come and just pluck it away.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen that easily. Though you hear it a lot, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay. Do you believe in reincarnation and karma?
Yeah.
And that each of us is responsible for what happens to us?
Yeah, I am. And I'm praying to God this is my last round. I'm not sure.
I know, right?
I know. I hope this is the last one. I don't know. But I do believe that we come back and we, again, and I know we're moving quickly here, but in my near-death experience, there was a moment where I was sitting there, I was looking at my life, and I had to relive the parts of my life that were not loved. And I had to achieve that before I could continue to ascend. So there is this experience of having to come back and experience the true nature of love, the unconditional love, not the love that puts us in boundaries and boxes and leaves us trapped with a pretty bow. It's the love that is unconditional, that has no boundaries. And that's what this is about.
You mean parts of your past lives where you weren't loved or you didn't love?
All of it.
Oh, okay.
The part that I didn't love, I wasn't so kind.
Oh, right, yeah.
The part that I wasn't loved
back.
by my people, right? So I had to learn about those experiences. So here's what I tell everybody. Love now. Do it right now. You won't have to reincarnate. You won't have to come back. Maybe you'll continue to ascend to the next place, to the next experience. I certainly believe in karma because we got to have a clean, clear slate to continue to ascend.
Right.
I mean ascend in the physical world. You got to continue to grow and expand and be who you really are. Be who you are.
I know. It's like my friend said to me, as long as we got to be here anyway, we might as well learn it, right?
And your mouth will be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Do you feel like some of the spirits that come to you with the purple papers and things like that, do you feel that they have a sense of,
Yes.
Exactly.
I know exactly where you're
for
going.
what they've done, and yeah.
Yep, there's apologies, there's forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's not just some medium rattling off someone's first name and their favorite dish in 1963. It's an experience of healing and remembering and really taking it to the next level. Absolutely.
Okay, we only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to ask you one of the jackpot questions.
All right.
What do you think it would take for people to turn back to God and renew their spirituality?
So here's what I want. I would love for people to turn within for a while, right? Come back to the center. Come back to that spot because that spot is where the connection to the universe is, to the earth is, to everything is. And I think we have to come back to that. We have to begin to see the reflection of God in the experiences of our lives, in nature, in our animals, and in each other. And when we see that, we're going to learn from that experience. So it's going to take a little time. It's going to take you a little time to do this, but really look in your life. Look around. See your life. See the people you share your life with, and know that they're a reflection of that divine energy as well, that spiritual energy. Each time you do that, it moves that spiritual meter out a little bit. You grow a little bit more. You smile a little bit more. You find happiness a little bit more when you're in those particular spaces. So it's going to take work. It's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It's going to take a commitment to see the reflection of the divine, all that light, all that love in other people and other things, because that's what we need to do. It's really what we need to do.
I feel like we need to teach young people more about love and unity and all that stuff, because I think if it starts younger.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot
right.
of young kids
Yep.
think, oh, religion is hokey. You go to church,
Yep.
you sing, and they see some people who are really, and I don't think they get into it. I don't think they understand that really what it's all about is love and
Yep.
unity and watching out for each other and taking care of one another. And I think if we start trying to teach people as they're younger, we'll grow
that's a
into
good
a
point.
better society.
It's a great point.
Technology fills our lives with. You can't get away, whether you have a cell phone or you have a watch that talks to you. You know,
He's always picking on me for my things.
like you said, busy.
Yeah.
Keep you busy so you don't take that time to stop and smell the roses, so
Sure,
to speak. That
exactly so.
very old saying,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
And look around. What you're saying is absolutely true. Look around you.
Yes.
Take stock at night when you come home.
Yes.
Do you want more out of life, or do you want to just live this, you know what I'm saying?
And the beauty is, we have the choice.
Yeah.
It's in me to choose for me. It's in you to choose for you. We have the opportunity to step through that veil, through that doorway, to the next experience in our lives. But we want to do that, bringing all this energy, loving energy, moving forward. Because what's beyond there is a magnificent and wonderful experience with each other.
We pay a lot of attention to our bodies. People, start paying attention to your soul. Because that's
a good
forever.
point.
The body isn't, but the soul is. So
Yeah.
pay more attention. Wake up. We have to give the contact information now. We're all
right.
done. Can you believe it?
I can't
I thought we
believe
just
that.
started.
I
What's
know,
up
that
so
was
fast?
incredible. Yeah.
All right, he's going to put it up there for us. For us, Healing Outside the Box, me, Rosemary LaChance. My phone number is 203-627-7966. Email is whitebuffalo8@comcast.net. And my website is www.rosemarylachance.com. I wanted to give another address, which I don't know by heart, but they changed it. Okay, so for Roland Comtois, it's rcomtois@admin@gmail.com. And his website is www.rolandcomtois.net.
And he's also on Facebook.
Yep, he's on Facebook, and he's got a lot of shows and things coming up, and it's just going to be
Yes,
fantastic.
you have to go to one of his shows. Absolutely. Make the time and go.
Thank you.
Thank you so
It was lovely
much.
being here with you guys.
Wonderful,
Thank you for
wonderful.
inviting me
Thank you,
back.
always
Thanks
is.
for inviting me back. I appreciate it so much.
All right. So, good night. Mwah.
Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.